Welcome back, everyone. In the previous part, Luo Feng finally reunited with Sitting Mountain, guest after escaping countless dangers in the deep abyss. Together, master and disciple discovered the location of the final two scales needed to complete the legendary crazy demon extermination godly armor, but as they continue their journey, an even greater mystery hidden inside Universe Boat is about to unfold. Let's continue the story. The mysterious engraving reflected. Across the endless permafrost suddenly flared with brilliant light. In the next instant, whoosh! The enormous Cyan Mountain completely disappeared. Inside the mountain, Sitting Mountain guest smiled as he explained what had just happened. This is a special transportation technique. It's somewhat similar to your star tower. Star Tower contains many independent spaces connected through portals. My technique works in a similar way, except it changes the portal directly into a destination. Luo Feng understood the general explanation, but the deeper principles behind the technique were still beyond his comprehension. Sitting Mountain guest laughed. I've already told you that among all the great beings of the three reincarnation, Eris and the two Holy Lands, fewer than 3 can truly understand this technique. Even many Universe Supreme Masters cannot comprehend it, so it's perfectly normal that you don't. He then continued with a more important point. The only thing you need to know is that Universe Boat possesses power of its own. In my view, Universe Boat is an incredibly magical true treasure, far beyond the supreme true treasures known today. This detail helps us understand that Universe Boat is not viewed as an ordinary ruin. According to Sitting Mountain guest, it appears to have been intentionally created, suggesting that it may have belonged to an ancient civilization with abilities far beyond those of the current era. Luo Feng nodded. I think so too. Sitting Mountain guest chuckled. What do you mean you think so too? Just look at it. Universe Boat has the shape of an actual boat. It was clearly crafted. As he finished speaking, the transportation ended. The surrounding light gradually faded. Space stabilized. They had arrived in a completely quiet world. Sitting Mountain guest pointed outside. Take a look. The Cyan Mountain became invisible. Luo Feng looked around carefully. The space was not particularly large. A peaceful lake occupied most of the area. At its center stood a lonely island covered with ancient stone palaces. There were no trees, flowers, or any other signs of life. Almost immediately, Luo Feng sensed something familiar. Teacher, I can feel the last 2 scales. They're inside the lake. Sitting Mountain guest nodded. I already know where they came from. This lake is connected to the gigantic Ice Mountain domain. The 2 scales most likely entered that domain before being transported here through a mysterious passage. I'll retrieve them right away, teacher. Without wasting time, Luo Feng left aboard the Crimson Pyramid and dived into the icy waters. Since he had previously collected hundreds of thousands of armor scales from this same region, he knew the freezing water itself wasn't dangerous. In fact, with Star Tower protecting him, the deep abyss itself could not destroy him. Its greatest danger was trapping someone forever. As Luo Feng continued descending, his connection with the missing scales suddenly became much stronger. There they are! The Crimson Pyramid continued sinking. A giant golden hand condensed from golden, light and reached, toward the source of the summoning. The final 2 scales were instantly pulled into his grasp. Luo Feng couldn't hide his excitement. Haha, I got them. Soon he returned to Sitting Mountain guest. The moment the 2 newly found scales recognized Luo Feng as their master, the incomplete extermination godly armor immediately broke apart. All 8,999,999 scales floated around him. Most of them were black. Only a small portion shone with golden light. Then, before Luo Feng's eyes, every scale began assembling together. Layer after layer, every engraving connected perfectly with the others. The armor's defensive systems, its long-range combat capabilities, its close combat functions. Everything became one complete whole. Looking at the finished masterpiece, Luo Feng couldn't help feeling amazed. It truly is incredible that someone could create a treasure like this. This moment emphasizes the extraordinary craftsmanship behind the armor. Rather than relying on raw power alone, its countless scales and engravings function together as one complete system, showing the level of precision achieved by its original creator. Sitting Mountain guest nodded with satisfaction. Not bad. As Luo Feng wore the completed armor, another transformation occurred. His 4 silver wings spread behind him. Then the black armor gradually changed into silver. Even the right claw transformed into silver. Sitting mountain guest smiled. Now even 5 Chaos Master wouldn't recognize you. Luo Feng was naturally delighted. However, Sitting mountain guest soon noticed another detail. 5 Chaos Master used this crazy demon extermination. Godly armor as a palace-type true treasure. Because of that, it suffered slight damage, likely from lava ocean. Luo Feng also sensed the damage. "Give it to me," Sitting mountain guest said. "I'll repair it." Luo Feng immediately handed over the armor. "It isn't seriously damaged," Sitting mountain guest explained confidently. "Repairing it won't require much effort. However, throughout Universe Ocean, very few experts can repair a treasure like this. As far as I know, I'm the only one." Hearing his teacher speak with such confidence, Luo Feng could only smile silently. After all, Sitting mountain guest had always displayed extraordinary skill in creating and repairing true treasures. However, instead of repairing the armor immediately, Sitting mountain guest pointed toward the island. "Let's explore that place first. This independent space most likely belonged to a powerful existence from the distant past," Luo Feng agreed. Long before the 2 Holy Lands had come into existence. Before Universe Boat became one of the 3 lands of Extremis, Universe Boat had once possessed an owner. The black, green, and silver keepsakes each corresponded to their own independent spaces. Unlike places such as Tilted Peak Sector or Flowing Countless Mountain, Universe Boat gave every impression of having been deliberately constructed. The mountain slowly landed upon the island. Sitting mountain guest stepped outside first. "Let's go." Luo Feng hesitated for only a moment. The dangers of deep abyss had made him extremely cautious. But Sitting mountain guest reassured him. "The island is safe." Only then did Luo Feng follow. The island measured roughly 1 million kilometers across. For beings at their level, crossing such a distance required almost no effort. Every palace had been carved directly from the island's own stone. The walls were covered with ancient murals. Some depicted enormous flying boats. Others showed mighty battles between terrifying beings. Some showed headless figures suspended in the sky. Others portrayed countless creatures bowing in worship. Each carving appeared to record a fragment of an ancient history. Even more remarkable, the emotions contained within the sculptures remained incredibly vivid. Despite the passage of countless years, Sitting mountain guest quietly observed them. "What an extraordinary civilization," Luo Feng whispered. "What an extraordinary great being." His teacher looked toward him. "You can tell?" Luo Feng nodded slightly. "Not completely, but that ship is clearly Universe Boat. Whoever built something like that must have possessed unimaginable power." He then asked, "Teacher, did such civilizations really exist?" Sitting mountain guest answered calmly. "Perhaps, but no one knows which reincarnation era they belong to. The 2 Holy Lands have existed for an extremely long time. Yet Universe Boat was already damaged before they even appeared." He continued explaining that many powerful techniques known today had originated from studying ancient ruins. His own treasure refining methods came from special opportunities, combined with his own understanding. Likewise, the 7 true Masters of the Divine Eye clan had also advanced by studying ancient inheritances. Even the Holy Lands possessed unique cultivation methods partly because they had inherited knowledge from mysterious ancient places. This explanation reveals an important aspect of the story's world-building. Many of the strongest techniques used by present-day experts are not entirely new creations. Instead, they are often developed by studying the remnants of civilizations that existed long before the current era. Luo Feng then asked another question. "Teacher, no one has ever met the ancestors of the 2 Holy Lands." Sitting mountain guest smiled. "That is a secret known only among Universe Supreme Masters. Don't think too much about it for now. When you become a Universe Supreme Master yourself, many mysteries will naturally become clear." Luo Feng respectfully nodded. The two continued walking deeper into the palace. Ancient murals covered every corridor. Scenes of celebration, scenes of war, scenes of mighty leaders roaring before countless followers. Every sculpture preserved powerful emotions that Luo Feng could clearly sense. Eventually, they reached the central chamber. Sitting mountain guest suddenly stopped. Luo Feng looked ahead. A massive stone wall stood before them, covered with strange ancient characters. Although Luo Feng couldn't read the language itself, he somehow understood its meaning. The message echoed directly into his mind.
A mistake!
It's a huge mistake.
It cost so much.
Yet all I got is death. Deaths upon deaths. Ha ha! I have made a breakthrough, so what? It's death in the end. The overwhelming anger, the deep regret, and the endless despair contained. Within those words left both Luo Feng and sitting, mountain guest standing there in complete silence. Unknown words carved into the ancient. Stone walls erupted with overwhelming emotions, crashing into Luo Feng's mind like a violent storm. Around him echoed a deep, indistinct roar, as though an ancient supreme being from a forgotten era was crying out across countless ages. The voice seemed filled with endless despair. They died one after another. No one escaped. No one. I am unwilling. So unwilling. A moment later, Luo Feng finally regained his senses. He immediately realized something astonishing. Those words were far more than simple writing. They contained emotions so powerful that they had survived countless years, along with the willpower of the being who carved them. This illustrates an important concept in cultivation. As one's spiritual strength reaches extraordinary heights, even traces of one's thoughts and emotions can remain intact for unimaginable lengths of time. Luo Feng was left speechless. He couldn't help but wonder just how powerful that mysterious existence must have been. Someone who had perished in an unknown reincarnation era had still managed to leave behind words capable of affecting powerful cultivators. Millions of years later, his thoughts quickly expanded even further. The messages carried by these inscriptions felt remarkably similar to those contained within many mysterious true treasures scattered throughout the universe. Ocean, yet no one truly knew who had created those treasures or where they had originated. Looking at these ancient ruins, Luo Feng began forming a bold theory. Perhaps many of the legendary true treasures passed down through history had all originated from a once glorious civilization that had long since vanished. He quietly turned towards sitting mountain guest. His teacher remained calm, unaffected by the emotional force of the inscriptions. However, there was unmistakable sadness in his expression. After remaining silent for a long while, he slowly shook his head. Then he spoke. According to sitting mountain guest, the mysterious being who left behind these words had been stronger than himself, stronger than any universe supreme master currently known. Even teacher, origin of the human race might not have been capable of defeating such an existence. Perhaps only the original ancestors of the two Holy Land universes could barely compare. Yet despite possessing such unimaginable strength, that expert had still met a tragic end. Sitting mountain guest continued with a thoughtful sigh. Today, the universe ocean is occupied by beings from the three reincarnation eras and the two Holy Land universes, but after thousands or even millions of reincarnation eras, who could say which races would still survive? No one knew the answer. This moment carries one of the chapter's deepest messages. No matter how advanced a civilization becomes, time itself remains one of the greatest challenges. The story reminds us that even immense power cannot guarantee eternal survival. Luo Feng fell silent. His teacher's words were undeniably true. Ordinary cultivators could never survive such immense stretches of time. Even among the greatest beings, only those sheltered within the Holy Land universes had a chance to endure through endless ages. But Luo Feng refused to surrender to hopelessness. Looking firmly at his teacher, he answered with unwavering determination. Even if hope was only a tiny glimmer, it was still hope. He had cultivated for only a few 100,000 years, an insignificant amount compared to an entire reincarnation era. Yet within that short time, he had already reached extraordinary heights. Given millions, billions, or even longer, he believed he could climb even higher. And if no path existed before him, then he would create one himself. After all, others had once accomplished the impossible before. Hearing those words, sitting mountain guest smiled. He admitted that the sorrow contained within the ancient inscriptions had briefly affected his own state of mind. Luo Feng's youthful determination reminded him of something many ancient experts gradually lost over endless years. Passion. Those who spent countless ages without breakthroughs often saw their ambitions slowly fade away. Luo Feng, however, still possessed limitless drive. With another smile, Sitting Mountain Guest even remarked that perhaps one day he himself might need Luo Feng's help. Those unexpected words made Luo Feng's heart skip a beat. Without lingering on the subject, Sitting Mountain Guest suggested they continue, exploring the island, to see what other relics the ancient civilization had left behind. The two immediately resumed their exploration. Moving like streaks of light, they crossed palace after palace with incredible speed. Every structure they examined was instantly committed to memory. As Luo Feng observed his surroundings, he noticed something peculiar. Unlike the dangerous regions of the deep abyss outside, this island was completely silent. There were no plants, no treasures, and no signs of life. Only endless ancient palaces remained. Suddenly, Sitting Mountain Guest accelerated toward the third palace and called Luo Feng over with unusual excitement. Luo Feng quickly arrived. Inside the enormous courtyard stood several exquisite sculptures, but what truly captured his attention was a gigantic stone wall nearly 1,000 meters, tall and 2,000 meters wide. It radiated an indescribable aura. At first glance, Luo Feng recognized that the wall was covered with countless microscopic secret engravings. They were so incredibly small that they resembled nanoscopic patterns woven together into one vast, three-dimensional structure. The instant his eyes focused upon it, an overwhelming force struck his consciousness. The entire world changed. The stone wall disappeared. Instead, Luo Feng found himself standing before an immense gathering of countless life forms. Stone races, metal races, flesh and blood races. Billions upon billions of beings knelt in reverence toward an unseen existence. Together they chanted a single phrase over and over. Devil split, devil split, devil split. The voices grew louder until they crashed through his consciousness like an endless tidal wave. Fortunately, Sitting Mountain Guest immediately released a burst of divine power. Luo Feng, wake up! Luo Feng suddenly returned to reality. Looking toward his teacher, he could barely conceal his shock. He had studied countless secret engraving diagrams throughout his cultivation, including the intricate engravings involved in constructing miniature universes. Yet compared with the engraving before him, everything he had learned until now was insignificant. It was like comparing the light of a single flame to the brilliance of an entire star. This comparison highlights just how enormous the gap in complexity had become between Luo Feng's current understanding and the knowledge left behind by this ancient civilization. Luo Feng became convinced that if the creator of this engraving had ever unleashed its full power, even universe masters might have been unable to resist it. Sitting Mountain Guest smiled helplessly. The moment Luo Feng arrived, he had stared directly at the most dangerous object in the courtyard. He explained that the stone wall contained an inheritance left behind by an ancient existence whose understanding was unimaginably profound. Even after all his own experience, Sitting Mountain Guest admitted he could only comprehend a tiny fraction of it. Instead of studying the engraving immediately, he directed Luo Feng toward another nearby wall. More words had been left behind there. They belonged to the same mysterious expert. This time, however, the emotions were no longer dominated by anger. Only regret remained. The ancient message explained that the expert had finally achieved the long-awaited breakthrough, only to discover that death was already inevitable. Everything had happened too late. One after another, those around him had already fallen, although he had finally reached his greatest accomplishment and created his ultimate technique. There was no one left to save. His life's greatest achievement had become meaningless. Luo Feng slowly looked back toward the gigantic engraving. Only now did he truly understand. That incredible secret engraving, carved into the wall, represented the supreme technique created during the ancient expert's greatest peak. Sitting Mountain Guest then revealed another important secret. This was not the first monument of its kind he had discovered. Within the three most dangerous lands of the universe ocean, hidden core regions occasionally contained relics left behind by incomparably ancient experts. Including this one, he had personally encountered 9 such monuments. Some provided valuable inheritances. Others had almost no practical use. Luo Feng nodded in understanding. Having previously inherited Jai Fanzi's relic, he already knew that powerful experts often left traces of themselves behind within dangerous regions. Sitting Mountain Guest then explained why this monument was different. The ancient expert had never intended to leave an inheritance. Had he wished to guide future generations, he would have left many simpler secret engraving diagrams, allowing others to progress step by step. Instead, he left only his completed masterpiece. It was simply too profound for later generations to cultivate directly. Even Sitting Mountain Guest admitted it was beyond him. Only the Divine Eye clan had once been fortunate enough to discover a complete inheritance, carefully prepared by another ancient existence. As he spoke, Sitting Mountain Guest suddenly noticed something. Luo Feng had once again become absorbed in studying the stone wall. This time, however, Luo Feng wasn't examining the entire engraving. He focused on only one tiny corner, perhaps 1/10,000th of the complete diagram. Within that tiny section, countless miniature engravings interconnected with astonishing precision. The more he observed, the more extraordinary they appeared. It almost seemed as though the universe itself had become a fundamental particle, while those particles continuously assembled to form something resembling a living soul. Luo Feng became completely captivated. He realized these engravings didn't resemble the familiar laws of gold: wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, time, space, or even the fusion laws. They represented something entirely different, something more mysterious, something beyond everything he currently understood. Before he realized it, he had immersed himself completely. Once again, Sitting Mountain Guest's voice pulled him back to reality. "Luo Feng, wake up!" Luo Feng looked toward his teacher and calmly replied that this time he had remained completely clear-minded. Sitting Mountain Guest simply smiled. Then he revealed something astonishing. Luo Feng had been standing there studying the engraving for more than 3 full days. Time had passed so naturally that Luo Feng hadn't noticed it at all. Although surprised, Luo Feng wasn't discouraged. Instead, excitement filled his heart. He admitted that fully comprehending the engraving might require billions of years, but merely observing its most fundamental structure had allowed him to realize something important. His research into secret engraving diagrams had remained stagnant at the universe night level for far too long. This monument had finally shown him the direction toward his next breakthrough. Sitting Mountain Guest laughed approvingly. Although the engraving didn't match his own cultivation path, he knew it suited Luo Feng perfectly. The study of secret engravings requires continuously observing more advanced diagrams. Each new discovery expands one's understanding and creates opportunities for future breakthroughs. Then, Sitting Mountain Guest revealed another surprise. During the same 3 days Luo Feng had been studying, he himself had also analyzed the monument. Using his extraordinary comprehension, he had successfully extracted 5 major secret engraving diagrams. With a wave of his hand, countless delicate engravings appeared across a nearby stone wall, forming 5 enormous diagrams. Each one was vastly more profound than the engravings used to construct miniature universes. Sitting Mountain Guest explained that every one of these 5 diagrams contained roughly 1/1000th of the power hidden within the original masterpiece. Although far weaker than the complete technique, they would serve as ideal stepping stones, allowing Luo Feng to gradually approach the ultimate engraving. Looking at the 5 newly created diagrams, Luo Feng couldn't help feeling astonished once again. Sitting Mountain Guest's ability to analyze and recreate even a tiny portion of such profound knowledge demonstrated why he was regarded as one of the greatest masters of crafting supreme true treasures. Finally, Sitting Mountain Guest told Luo Feng it was time to leave. The island was peaceful and completely safe, so Luo Feng could simply leave behind one divine body to continue studying the engravings over the coming years while his main body returned outside. Then, Sitting Mountain Guest revealed why he had interrupted Luo Feng's cultivation. Beyond the island, an enormous disturbance had already begun. From the fluctuations spreading across the universe ocean, he could sense that universe supreme masters were likely engaged in battle. There was even a possibility that the human race's huge axe creator was among those fighting. Before long, Luo Feng's composure completely disappeared. The moment he heard that the battle outside might involve huge axe creator, he could no longer remain calm. Without hesitation, he urged, "Teacher, let's go." Before leaving, however, Luo Feng made one important preparation. A portion of his divine power separated from his body and condensed into a complete avatar. This is actually an interesting detail about the cultivation system in the story. By this stage, Universe Knights possess divine power strong enough to split off independent avatars while maintaining their own consciousness. Immortal warriors rarely do this because, dividing they're already limited. Divine power would weaken them too much. For stronger cultivators like Luo Feng, however, leaving an avatar behind is a practical way to continue, studying while the main body handles other matters. Sitting Mountain Guest nodded without wasting another second. Within moments, the towering Cyan Mountain rose into the air once again. Ancient engravings lit up across its surface, activating the mysterious transportation method. Space itself twisted, and in an instant, they vanished from the hidden world. Only the peaceful lake, the lonely island, and Luo Feng's avatar remained behind to continue studying the ancient inheritance. The Cyan Mountain emerged once more from beneath the frozen ice of the deep abyss. Without slowing down, it shot forward. Compared to the dangerous regions throughout the abyss, the hidden island truly felt like a paradise. Luo Feng couldn't help admiring it. There are no dangers there at all. It's completely peaceful. No wonder such a supreme existence chose to live there. Even after watching teacher use the transportation method myself, I still can't understand it. Sitting Mountain Guest simply smiled. You'll understand it after becoming a Universe Supreme Master. Then he reminded Luo Feng of something important. Leave your avatar there permanently. Don't dismiss it. I won't have time to bring you back every time you wish to study. Luo Feng agreed immediately. His greatest opportunity now wasn't simply acquiring treasures. It was studying the supreme secret, engraving left behind by an ancient civilization. If understanding those engravings could push his comprehension to an entirely new level, then keeping an avatar there indefinitely was an obvious choice. This is another nice example of long-term thinking and cultivation stories. Instead of chasing immediate gains, Luo Feng recognizes that knowledge itself may become the greatest treasure. Meanwhile, the Cyan Mountain accelerated faster and faster. 100 times the speed of light, 1,000. 10,000. 100,000 times the speed of light. Watching this, Luo Feng became slightly nervous. Teacher, we're moving far beyond the normal limits. Other Universe Supreme Masters may notice us. Sitting Mountain Guest calmly poured himself another cup of wine. If we travel slowly, the battle will already be over before we arrive. Luo Feng couldn't argue with that. Major battles between supreme experts rarely lasted very long, unless they were chasing one another across vast distances. Decisive confrontations were often over in moments. Seeing Luo Feng still worried, Sitting Mountain Guest simply handed him a cup. This wine is excellent. An old friend from the second universe. Era gave it to me after I crafted a true treasure for him. Luo Feng laughed. Then I definitely have to try it. Even with a major battle ahead, Sitting Mountain Guest remained perfectly relaxed, a reminder of just how confident he was in his own strength. Only after Luo Feng had taken 2 small sips, the entire mountain suddenly trembled. "We're here," Sitting Mountain Guest announced. With a casual wave of his hand, the mountain became transparent, allowing Luo Feng to see everything outside. The surrounding winds had vanished. Even the rivers of lava had fallen silent. The terrifying pressure released by Universe Supreme Masters had completely overwhelmed the natural dangers of the universe boat itself. Just sensing the ripples from their battle made Luo Feng's heart shake. He couldn't help comparing himself to his teacher. Even while they had still been inside the hidden space, Sitting Mountain Guest had already sensed this battle from an unimaginable distance. Luo Feng realized once again just how enormous the gap remained between himself and a true Universe Supreme Master. Sitting Mountain Guest observed the battlefield for a moment before speaking. "Oh, one side is the 3rd True Master and the 6th True Master of the Divine Eye Clan, and the other is Brilliant Gold." Hearing that name, Luo Feng relaxed. Fortunately, it wasn't Hugh Jack's creator. He had genuinely worried that the human race's strongest expert might have become involved because of the conflict surrounding the extermination godly armor. Looking toward the battlefield, Luo Feng finally witnessed the combat. Space itself had become distorted. Countless meteors crashed through the sky. At the center floated an enormous golden beast resembling a gigantic octopus, wielding 13 terrifying tentacles that swept away everything in their path. This was Brilliant Gold Devil God in battle. Opposing him were two legendary experts of the Divine Eye clan. The third true master controlled the supreme domain treasure known as Star Kingdom, covering the battlefield with endless meteor attacks. Meanwhile, the sixth true master unleashed the Green Eye Light, a soul-type supreme true treasure that continuously assaulted Brilliant Gold from afar. Despite facing attacks from two universe supreme masters simultaneously, Brilliant Gold continued holding his ground. Seeing this, Luo Feng couldn't hide his surprise. "Teacher, Brilliant Gold isn't even using a supreme true treasure, yet he's still resisting both of them." Sitting Mountain Guest smiled and corrected him. "Not exactly. He possesses a palace-type supreme true treasure inside his body. In reality, neither side is fighting with their full strength." He went on to explain that the third true master actually possessed two supreme true treasures, but was only using his domain treasure. Likewise, the sixth true master alone was launching the primary attacks. The reason was simple. They already knew they couldn't seriously injure someone, protected by a palace-type supreme true treasure. This is another strategic point worth noticing. Among top-level cultivators, victory isn't determined solely by raw power. Knowledge of an opponent's defensive capabilities completely changes how battles are fought. Experienced experts constantly weigh the cost of attacking against the likelihood of achieving any meaningful result. Yet one mystery remained. If they know they can't kill Brilliant Gold, Sitting Mountain Guest wondered, why are they still refusing to leave? Curious, he extended his own divine power toward the battlefield. Immediately, the conversation between the three supreme experts became audible. An angry voice roared, "Sitting Mountain Guest! Are you planning to interfere?" Another voice followed. "Are you joining this battle?" Sitting Mountain Guest chuckled. "Not at all. I'm only curious. If you already know Brilliant Gold possesses a palace-type supreme true treasure, why continue attacking him?" The third and sixth true masters answered without hesitation. "Because he possesses the extermination godly armor and the silver wing." "We may not be able to kill him, but more experts from the Divine Eye clan are already coming. Once they arrive, we'll seal him completely." At that moment, Brilliant Gold's furious voice echoed across the battlefield. "I've already told you, I don't possess either treasure. You interrupted me without reason, so I deliberately misled you. The extermination, godly armor, and the silver wing are somewhere inside the deep abyss, but they are not with me." The sixth true master refused to believe a single word. "You expect us to trust that?" Brilliant Gold snapped back. "If merely being here proves I own the treasures, then Sitting Mountain Guest must own them as well." Sitting Mountain Guest simply laughed. "Do you truly believe I have them?" The third true master calmly looked towards Sitting Mountain Guest and said that someone of his status had no reason to compete for the silver wings or the extermination godly armor. After all, he was already recognized throughout Universe Ocean as one of the greatest creators of true treasures. In contrast, Brilliant Gold Devil God carried the future of an entire race, making him the more likely suspect. This accusation reveals an important strategic lesson. In conflicts between powerful factions, logic is often used to strengthen an existing narrative rather than uncover the truth. The Divine Eye clan wasn't simply presenting evidence. They were shaping a story that justified their actions. Sitting Mountain Guest merely smiled without responding. Brilliant Gold Devil God, however, finally lost his patience. He roared that he had already denied possessing the treasures countless times. Yet nobody believed him. If the Divine Eye clan truly wanted a fight, then they were welcome to try. Yes, all seven true masters together were terrifying, enough to seal him away until the end of the current universe era. But what then? After this reincarnation era ended, every member of the Divine Eye clan would perish, while he himself would simply be reborn. His race would continue living safely inside his miniature universe. This exchange highlights another recurring theme throughout the story. Universe Supreme Masters think on the scale of entire cosmic eras. Their victories and defeats are measured across unimaginable lengths of time, rather than years or centuries. The sixth true master remained completely unmoved. Without another word, countless stars surged forward once again. Combined with the pressure from the Green Eye Lights, they continuously blocked Brilliant Gold Devil God's escape route, forcing him to defend himself without pause. Watching the battle, Luo Feng frowned. If Brilliant Gold truly didn't possess the treasures, why was the Divine Eye clan refusing to let him leave? Sitting Mountain Guest immediately exposed the truth. He explained that the treasures themselves weren't the real objective. Compared to the Divine Eye clan's overall strength, those treasures alone weren't worth launching such an overwhelming operation. Their actual goal was much larger. They wanted to make an example out of someone. In modern terms, this is similar to demonstrating overwhelming power so that everyone else becomes afraid to challenge you. By crushing one powerful opponent publicly, they hope to intimidate every other force throughout Universe Ocean. Luo Feng immediately understood. In other words, they intended to kill the chicken to scare the monkeys. Sitting Mountain Guest continued. The first reincarnation era was approaching its inevitable destruction. Every race from that era faced extinction, so naturally they would struggle with everything they had. Today's confrontation was only the beginning of that desperate resistance. Luo Feng silently processed those words. The future of Universe Ocean was becoming increasingly unstable. Still, he couldn't help asking whether they should remain here. If they waited too long, 2 additional True Masters might arrive, turning this into a battle involving 4 Universe Supreme Masters. Sitting Mountain Guest simply smiled. Of course they would wait. How could anyone miss a battle of this magnitude? Seeing his teacher so relaxed, Luo Feng stopped asking questions. Far away, within the 9th abyss, another powerful figure was already moving toward the battlefield. Huge Axe. Creator had sensed the enormous energy fluctuations from an incredible distance away. Although he wasn't afraid of battle, he also wasn't reckless. Instead of charging in blindly, he carefully concealed himself while advancing, at 100 times the speed of light. From the intensity of the ripples alone, he immediately concluded that Universe Supreme Masters were already fighting. Moments later, as Brilliant Gold Devil, God continued resisting the combined attacks of the 3rd and 6th True Masters. Star True Master suddenly shouted into the void. "Who's there? Come out!" Even Sitting Mountain Guest smiled. Another expert had arrived. The surrounding stars were suddenly blasted aside. A gigantic black axe appeared first. Then came its owner. Huge Axe Creator. Star True Master acknowledged him with surprising respect, admitting that this was their first meeting and praising Huge Axe's ability to conceal himself. The 6th True Master immediately recognized him as well. Brilliant Gold Devil God burst into laughter. Even Sitting Mountain Guest looked amused. 5 Universe Supreme Masters now stood on the battlefield simultaneously. Everyone reacted differently. The Divine Eye clan looked pleased. Brilliant Gold welcomed another powerful ally. Sitting Mountain Guest simply enjoyed watching events unfold. Only Luo Feng felt genuine fear. His thoughts immediately raced toward the worst possibility. Was Huge Axe Creator here because of him? Brilliant Gold possessed a palace-type supreme true treasure, making him incredibly difficult to kill. Huge Axe Creator, however, was widely believed not to possess such protection. If anything happened to him, the entire human race would lose its greatest pillar. Teacher Origin remained permanently suppressed. Huge Axe Creator alone supported humanity's highest level of strength. If he fell, the consequences would be unimaginable. The 3rd True Master suddenly shifted his attention entirely toward Huge Axe. He declared that only 3 major forces knew the treasures had fallen into the 9th Abyss, humanity, the Divine Eye clan, and the Purple Moon Holy Land. Since they hadn't found Huge Axe earlier, they had suspected Brilliant Gold instead. But now, everything pointed toward the human race. Huge Axe answered simply. He didn't have the treasures. The 3rd True Master didn't believe a single word. Instead, he accused humanity of openly opposing the Divine Eye clan. He even declared that humans deserved destruction, not only for supposedly taking the treasures, but also because Luo Feng had killed 5 Chaos Master. Those words instantly caused Huge Axe Creator's eyes to become ice cold. Deserve to die? The 3rd True Master's answer carried absolute confidence. If Huge Axe died today, then the human race itself would eventually disappear. Listening from inside Sitting Mountain Guest's mountain treasure, Luo Feng clenched his fists in anger. 5 Chaos Master had tried to kill him first. Yet now the Divine Eye clan acted as though humanity alone deserved punishment. More importantly, Luo Feng finally realized that this had never been about justice. The Divine Eye clan wanted to display their dominance by crushing what they viewed as a weaker race. Unable to remain silent, Luo Feng begged Sitting Mountain Guest for help. Huge Axe Creator was humanity's only true pillar. He absolutely could not die. But Sitting Mountain Guest calmly shook his head. He stated that he only cared about Luo Feng. The fate of the human race was not his concern. Those words left Luo Feng stunned. His teacher then added one final sentence. Watch carefully. Universe Supreme Masters were not so easy to kill. Meanwhile, Brilliant Gold Devil God laughed loudly. The Divine Eye clan had tried sealing him moments earlier, yet now they wanted to eliminate Huge Axe Creator instead. He immediately called out, if they wanted a fight, then he and Huge Axe would fight together. It was time to teach the Divine Eye clan that Universe Supreme Masters could not be bullied so easily. Huge Axe accepted without hesitation. He raised his enormous black axe. Dark light instantly spread across his body, forming a layer of armor. Then, everything changed. Deep thunder-like sounds echoed throughout the battlefield. Every star froze in place. A massive glowing figure slowly appeared above them. The figure smiled gently, almost mercifully. Yet that peaceful expression somehow made the pressure even more terrifying. The third true master softly declared, "One thought gives birth to the eternal kingdom." At that instant, one star exploded. Instead of disappearing, it transformed into a strange beast. Then another star shattered. Another beast appeared. Then another. And another. Within moments, billions of stars had transformed into billions of strange creatures. Every single one knelt toward the glowing figure in complete worship. The surrounding space itself became completely suppressed. Even from inside Sitting Mountain Guest's treasure, Luo Feng felt overwhelming pressure pressing against him. Immediately, he remembered the mysterious ancient monument inside the hidden island. The scene resembled the ancient devil split technique he had witnessed there, where countless lives bowed before an unimaginable existence. Sitting Mountain Guest quietly explained that this was the ancient inheritance obtained by the Divine Eye clan. Their combat methods originated from that lost civilization. No wonder Star True Master ranked only below the first True Master. His mastery of this inheritance was extraordinary. More importantly, the suppression prevented Brilliant Gold Devil God from helping Huge Axe Creator. Brilliant Gold struggled desperately, but his movements became painfully slow. He shouted a warning. This suppression was terrifying. Huge Axe needed to be extremely careful. Huge Axe simply tightened his grip on the black axe. Then the glowing figure smiled once again. The third true master revealed that this was only the second time he had ever unleashed his full strength. The previous occasion had been when all 7 true masters joined forces to eliminate Kong Lo from the second reincarnation era. This time, Huge Axe Creator would become the next target. He immediately ordered Green Eye True Master to attack. The 6th True Master obeyed. The glowing figure whispered another command. The Eternal Kingdom divided into countless star beasts, then united into one eternal true God. Strange music filled the battlefield. The green eye lights erupted with endless brilliance. Ancient engravings covered every beam of light as billions of streams of energy poured into the waiting beasts. Every creature roared together. True God, true God. True God! At that moment, all the pieces merged. The billions of transformed stars became the body. The green eye light became its soul. The ancient inheritance became its foundation. Before everyone's eyes, an unimaginably gigantic creature appeared. It possessed 9 enormous heads, 36 pairs of wings, 108 pairs of hooves, and 9 massive tails. Its very existence overwhelmed the laws governing the surrounding space. For a brief moment, silence covered the entire battlefield. Even Brilliant Gold Devil God stopped struggling. Huge Axe Creator stared directly at the terrifying creature. Inside the mountain, Luo Feng's heart tightened with worry. Even Sitting Mountain Guest looked genuinely surprised. Finally, the third true master raised his hand, pointed directly at Huge Axe Creator, and gave a single command. Eternal True God. Kill him! The battlefield fell into complete silence. The newly formed Eternal True God stood like an invincible deity. Its 9 terrifying heads looked in every direction at once. And wherever its gaze landed, space and time froze solid. Even beings at the level of universe, Supreme Masters couldn't shatter the frozen void. Each of its 108 massive hooves stepped forward in perfect rhythm. Boom! Every step shook the endless universe ocean. No one moved. Not even Huge Axe Creator rushed to attack. He simply stood there calmly, gripping his gigantic axe while observing his opponent. Meanwhile, Third True Master and Sixth True Master were already convinced of victory. To them, Huge Axe Creator was still a relatively young Universe Supreme Master from the Third Reincarnation era. Compared to ancient experts like themselves, he lacked both experience and powerful treasures. They believed this battle would end with a single decisive strike. This reveals an important difference between confidence and arrogance. Truly experienced experts often underestimate newcomers because they judge them using old standards. History repeatedly shows that revolutionary talents are usually ignored until they completely overturn everyone's expectations. The eternal true God suddenly moved. Although its enormous body appeared slow, it had already exceeded 100 times the speed of light, completely ignoring the normal laws governing the universe. In an instant, it appeared directly before Huge Axe Creator.
Yeah!
Its soul-piercing roar echoed across space as countless claws slashed forward. The frozen void cracked apart like glass. Boom! Huge Axe Creator was blasted backward through space. Third True Master smiled faintly. So you managed to block one attack? Impressive. But your luck ends here. Before he could finish speaking, Huge Axe Creator stopped himself, steadied his footing, and burst into loud laughter.
Ha ha ha!
As expected of the Divine Eye Clan, that beast truly possesses an extraordinary soul attack. He admitted he had deliberately tested the technique without relying on prior intelligence, allowing his opponents to gain a temporary advantage. But his eyes burned with fighting spirit. You'll only have the upper hand this once. Everyone watching froze. Even Sitting Mountain guests looked genuinely surprised. Luofeng finally relaxed slightly. If Huge Axe Creator could still laugh after taking that attack, then he clearly wasn't cornered yet. Naturally, Third True Master and Sixth True Master became furious. So arrogant. You actually think you can suppress both of us? Third True Master sneered. I've wandered throughout Universe Ocean for countless years. Very few have dared speak to me like this. The eternal true God roared once again before charging forward. Then, Huge Axe Creator finally made his move. 12th. He slowly raised his gigantic axe. Instantly, 12 colossal axe phantoms appeared throughout the surrounding universe. Each shadow was so enormous it looked like an entire world suspended in space. The crushing pressure created by eternal true God immediately began collapsing under the appearance of those 12 gigantic axes. For a brief moment, Huge Axe Creator looked like the very center of the universe. Then, he swung. The 12 axe shadows merged into one dazzling black strike. Boom! The collision shook reality itself. Huge Axe Creator merely stepped back one pace, but eternal true God was forced backward 3 entire steps. Silence. Absolute silence. Even brilliant Gold Devil God stared in disbelief. Sitting Mountain guests' expression changed. Third True Master and Sixth True Master couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. A supreme true treasure. Sixth True Master roared. Your axe is actually a supreme true treasure. Huge Axe Creator smiled confidently. I only obtained it recently. You two are simply the first ones fortunate enough to test it. His calm confidence wasn't boasting anymore. He had already proven it through action. This is another timeless lesson. Real strength rarely needs lengthy explanations. Once results speak for themselves, arguments become meaningless. Still, Third True Master quickly regained his composure. He understood something wasn't right. Even with a supreme true treasure, Huge Axe Creator shouldn't have been capable of overpowering the eternal true God. After all, that terrifying monster combined the strength of 2 Universe Supreme Masters, 3 supreme true treasures, and an ancient inheritance technique from a lost civilization. There had to be another reason. He stared at Huge Axe Creator. Your axe technique is extraordinary. Then he gave the order. Release the jade eyes. Immediately, the eternal true God began transforming once again. Countless jade green secret engravings spread throughout its body. 2 streams of purple light flew into the monster. Luofeng instantly recognized them. Star Hand! Third True Master had finally revealed his second supreme true treasure. Now, all 3 supreme true treasures were being used simultaneously. Even Sitting Mountain Guest quietly placed down his wine cup. The battle had entered its true climax. The eternal true god evolved again, its countless claws condensed into only 18 massive divine claws. Purple armor wrapped around its enormous body. Its aura became vastly more terrifying than before. Third True Master spoke coldly. With 3 supreme true treasures and our combined secret techniques, I refuse to believe we cannot defeat you. Huge Axe Creator merely smiled. 13th, another gigantic axe shadow appeared. This one was even larger than before. It seemed to exist partly outside reality itself. The axe descended. Boom! The battlefield exploded. This time, Huge Axe Creator was pushed backward. Seeing this, Third True Master and Sixth True Master finally relaxed. Perhaps victory was still theirs. Then, Huge Axe Creator smiled again. My 14th axe. Both True Masters froze. What? There's still another one? The 14th axe appeared. This time, darkness swallowed everything. The entire battlefield lost all light. It felt as though the universe itself had vanished. Moments later, light returned. Eternal True God had already been blasted far into the distance. Huge Axe Creator looked at it calmly. My 14th axe still isn't enough. My 15th axe? I've only just created it. Let's see whether your Eternal True God can survive this one. The words alone sent chills through everyone present. Then, Huge Axe Creator raised his axe once more. 15th. Darkness returned. But this time, within the endless blackness, a single glowing axe slowly appeared. The strange part wasn't its size. It was the feeling it created. Everyone, from Sitting Mountain Guest to Luo Feng, felt as though they had entered an entirely different world. Even Sitting Mountain Guest suddenly stood up. His eyes widened in complete disbelief. He actually reached that level? His voice trembled. The human race. Teacher origin. Huge axe. The potential of humanity is truly unbelievable. Even Luo Feng felt his soul shaking. The glowing axe wasn't merely powerful. It represented a completely new realm of understanding. For one terrifying instant, it almost felt capable of splitting apart an entire universe. Of course, Luo Feng knew that sensation was only an illusion. Yet the pressure it created was overwhelmingly real. Then, without any unnecessary movements, Huge Axe Creator swung, silently. One strike, everything returned to normal. The Eternal True God shattered. Its gigantic body exploded apart. The combined technique collapsed back into countless stars. 2 jade-green lights, and the pair of purple arm guards that had formed its core. The combination of 3 supreme true treasures had been forcibly broken apart. 6th True Master stood frozen. He actually separated the 3 supreme true treasures. 3rd True Master's heart filled with fear. He suddenly remembered another person. Teacher Origin. Long ago, Teacher Origin had given him the exact same feeling. A feeling of complete helplessness. Could Huge Axe Creator have reached that same terrifying realm? No one answered. Every Universe Supreme Master remained silent. Each of them understood they had just witnessed history. For Luo Feng, the shock was even greater. This was the first time he had truly witnessed Huge Axe Creator fighting with his full strength. He finally understood why Huge Axe Creator had always been regarded as the pillar, supporting the entire human race. With someone this powerful standing behind humanity, the future suddenly seemed far brighter than before. And this battle also leaves us with an important lesson. True greatness is often hidden until the decisive moment. Huge Axe Creator never wasted time boasting about his strength. Instead, he quietly perfected his techniques, revealing them only when his people needed him most. Preparation done in silence often produces victories that leave the entire world speechless. And with Huge Axe Creator's astonishing display shaking every supreme expert in Universe Ocean, a new chapter in the rise of the human race had officially begun. If you enjoyed this epic battle and want to continue following Luo Feng's incredible journey toward becoming one of the strongest beings in the universe, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.